Hey guys, I'm back here, and I'm basically going to discuss the part two of the first movie, the Zeitgeist movie, and it's called All the World Is a Stage, and that title itself is actually quite interesting. It basically means that whatever you think is real most likely isn't, because everything has to do with control and conditioning. And those are the two words. The first part I told you was about money, power, and influence. And this part is, I think the main words here are control and conditioning. And when you have control and conditioning, then you have, that's when we start to think and believe things that are not true. So it's called All the World Is a Stage, and it's about the 9/11 attacks, I know you guys. I know you don't want to hear a lot of the 9/11 attacks and whatever you hear that was against the U.S. government or whatever it was is a conspiracy. Well, when you think of the actual title is called All the World Is a Stage, and that means that you shouldn't believe what you read, or you shouldn't believe what you hear, or at least all of it, because of course there's things out there that are true, but for the most part, your media is very controlled and everything, so it's a very interesting thing. So the way I look at things is that when they say it's a conspiracy, I kind of believe, or I lean towards the fact that I think that it's actually the truth. I have numerous reasons to think that, and I'm not against anybody, but I am against, I do know, like I'm against, people that do, the wrong thing, but I do know that that when people are in power, the most important thing to them is to wanting to maintain their power, and I'm pretty sure everyone out there can understand that. So anyway, so the next point I was going to come across here, like I said, is the conditioning, right? So if they repeat something over and over again, you get conditioned to it. You start to realize that this is the truth, like the fact that we are very conditioned to, like when we watch a film and you have the good guys and the bad guys. There's the bad guys, right? And the bad guys kill the good guys, and that's not a good thing, right? And we don't like that. But when the good guys of the film, they go and kill the bad guys, we never think of their killing as a wrong thing as well. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by conditioning. We're very patriotic, and we believe in these false things just because. Who knows what the bad guy's story is, the reasons why they're doing it, what I mean? It could be their society that is messing things up too. We don't think that far. We just think that we have the good guys, and then we have the bad guys, and so, but the thing is, when the good guys are killing the bad guys, they're still killing, right? So that's why I was thinking, with this, you having, the President of the United States is the good guy, right? But in reality, he's very powerful. You know what I mean? The U.S. is the most powerful country in the world, or I'm pretty sure it is. But they're probably powerful for the very wrong reasons. Like when we came to America, we had we killed a whole bunch of Indians in order to have it. We took everything that we have, right? So that's the reason why we have it. So you got to think of like what is good and what is bad and what is wrong, and what is wrong is maintaining the power. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. However, I am going to read this paragraph to you, and because they go into detail and whatnot, but I will talk about it a little bit. And this is called the 9/11 myth. This is what was told to everybody. Okay, and I'm just going to read it out, and then I'm going to break it down a little bit. And when you watch the films, you'll see it in much more detail, and it's very, very, interesting. Anyway, it says 19 hijackers, directed by Osama bin Laden, took over 4 commercial jets with box cutters, and while invading the air defense system (NORAD), hit 75% of their targets. In turn, World Trade Center Towers 1, 2, and 7 collapsed due to structural failure through fire and in a pancake fashion. while the plane that hit the Pentagon vaporized upon impact, as did the plane that crashed in Shanksville. The 9/11 Commission found that there were no warnings for this act of terrorism, while multiple governments' failures prevented adequate defense. So that is the myth, right? And this is a very interesting paragraph because when you deconstruct it, they found so much evidence that this is actually completely false, and getting the public to believe in this was actually fairly easy to get them to believe in it, except for the professionals that would actually analyze it. So now the first thing is you focus in on like 19 hijackers. I'm just going to throw a point out there, within the film they find out that the 19 hijackers, since they're doing like a kamikaze mission and they're going to die, and they actually have proof that like at least 6 of the members are still alive. You know what I mean? So they found proof about that. The second thing was Osama bin Laden. Everyone knows now, I think, that Osama bin Laden, he had dealings with Bush, or the Bush family, the Bush administration, right? So there's things about that, right? Basically, here's another one. You have the air defense system, NORAD. What a lot of people don't know is that they were constructing, they were practice runs, for the jets that were out there for support, and they were doing real, like if it was real world or if it was practice, and purposely it was disorganized on that day because they were practicing doing the hijacking of like practicing how to handle like a hijacking and stuff like that. They would have fake ones, and then they knew it was like they call it real world or they call it exercise, and basically usually it's very organized and people can find out, right? Or not people, I mean it's very organized, and they can find out how to how to accomplish their goals. But in this particular day, it was actually very scattered, right? And since there was 2 of them going on at the same time, the real exercise and the real world and the exercise, they couldn't tell which one was which, So, and usually their response time is like 8 minutes or whatever, and they didn't have jets there on that day, on September 11th, for I think 40 minutes. They didn't get one, support, like Air Force or whatever they have, They didn't have that for like 40 minutes. So that there's a lot of things that are just out of whack, Another thing we have here, basically they say that the World Trade Center towers, they collapsed in a pancake fashion. Well, everyone that that knows the design of the World Trade Center, the towers, they know that the way that it's built, it wouldn't have done that if it wasn't a pancake fashion. The beams inside the middle would still be standing up. So they knew that something was absolutely wrong, and it didn't really, something didn't add up. They found proof that there was beams that were actually cut. And they found molten metal. They found metal that's been melted. And which means how the hell can you have molten metal that can heat up to that degree? And they found out that it was most likely explosives. And that's exactly the way that the World Trade Center towers actually collapsed, was from was most likely from explosives, which means it was an inside job. And this sounds all conspiracy, but they have I'll just move on to the next one. The next one, they say that the Pentagon, that's the one that's on the next on the list. The Pentagon went in there, and basically when they did the research, or when they went in there to see what the hell happened, they found a huge hole in the Pentagon, but they really couldn't find any large pieces of a plane crash, and and they were really searching for it, and looking for things, and they found very small pieces of different type of stuff and different debris and whatnot, and that's what they but they didn't find any plane crash, and they blamed it on the whole plane vaporized from jet fuel. Professionals are out there, they're finding out that even if you heat it up to a certain degree, the jet fuel, is no way in hell it can vaporize an entire plane. You know what I mean? So it's just absolutely incredible. And then they had the one in Shanksville. They